You're listening to Pillow Talk on Hatch Plus. I'm Matt.
And I am Kristen.
So put away your phone and join our nightly sleepover.
Matt, let's start off with our emotional weather reports. How are you doing right now?
I'm good, thank you. I would say things are pretty clear at the moment. We've just had the garden done, so I'm actually suddenly more aware of the outside world, which is strange for me. I've been sat just staring at the sky, and there was a full moon, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I've never really been into the whole star signs stuff, but overall, positive. How about you? What's it looking like where you are?
Oh, well, I would say my emotional weather report is foggy, but in the good sort of foggy way. Went on a couple of walks today where everything was calm and pretty and there were birds out, but it wasn't so sunny that I could get sunburnt. It was just nice and overcast. And I always think of foggy weather as just the best weather to take a walk in. So I'm feeling pretty happy. Like I got to use my body. I got to be out in the world, got to run some errands. And now I'm just happy to be back here in this pillow fort with all of the couch cushions piled up, making the wall over here, making the cushiony soft spot here. Life's pretty good.
So foggy but clear simultaneously.
Yes, foggy, but in that nice sort of the world is hugging me sort of way, if that makes sense, rather than scalding me or raining down on me.
Perfect. That sounds ideal. Now, I don't know about you, Kristen, but a lot of the time when I'm falling asleep, I start thinking about some absolutely useless stuff. Like, I know I need to be sleeping, but that seems to be the time when my brain wants to write a full-on pub quiz. Like, for example, last night I couldn't stop thinking about where birds go. You see them flying about in the daytime. There's loads in my garden. Not seeing a single nest. So where are they commuting from? And it'll be a different thing every night. And I know we all have these things, our Roman empires or our own personal little TED Talks at night. The things we think about a lot, probably more than the average person. And I think the only solution for getting these things out of our heads before bed is to talk it out. So, Kristen, what is something random that you think about a lot?
Wow, some people might call it random, and some people like me might call it an important pillar of our world. And that is the Golden Girls, the TV show that I used to watch every night with my mom and my nana when I was a little kid. It was always in reruns. Matt, do you know the Golden Girls?
I feel sort of ashamed to say that. I mean, I know what it is, but I've never watched it. So I'm guessing there's no, as a series, is it finished? Is it just reruns that you're watching?
Yes, it is just reruns. It is a short 22-minute situation comedy that centers on 4 women who are between their 50s and their 80s, living together as roommates in Miami in the 80s and 90s. That's when the original run of the show was. And the 4 characters are Rose, played by Betty White, who's kind of some people might say she's dim-witted. I just like to say she's naive and happy. We have Dorothy, played by B. Arthur, and she's a little bit stern, maybe a little bit judgmental, but always has the most wry quips and comebacks. We have Blanche, played by Rue McClanahan. She is a sexy older lady who's always out on a date, and by date, I don't necessarily mean really a date. She might be in the backseat of a car with somebody having a great time. And Sophia, played by Estelle Getty, is the oldest of all of them. She's Dorothy's mom, and she is grouchy, and she does not have the time for any of it. No patience for anything. And so those are the 4 main characters, and they live together as roommates, living their best lives, going on dates, dressing fashionably, and they don't need a man, but they all have plenty of men at the same time that they don't need men, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense within the confines of Golden Girls. I can see why it works as a concept. But
Yeah, yeah.
ha-
In a lot of ways, it's aspirational. This idea of fashionable, independent women of a certain age who get to own their lives. And a lot of the world, especially back then, just ignored women after they, turned 50 or 60. And on the Golden Girls, the world doesn't forget them. The world centers around them, and they have the best adventures.
and how did they all end up in? Is it a house share? Did you say like a?
Yeah, it's a shared house they live in together. It's actually Blanche's house, and the other ladies end up coming into her house, and they all end up being roommates, and they usually get along together. They have late nights where if they're having a tough time of things, they'll go to the kitchen in the middle of the night with their bathrobes and eat cheesecake and discuss their qualms with each other or the world. And I always especially loved Rose, played by Betty White, partly because the character of Rose comes from my home state of Minnesota, and she makes a lot of goofy references to Minnesota things that I feel only Minnesotans would understand. She'll
Right.
mention things like lutefisk and other native foods of Minnesota. She's from a town called St. Olaf, and St. Olaf is actually a college back in Minnesota. And there's lots of Scandinavian humor on the show, which I think is not super common in most American media to have Scandinavian humor, but Rose, she captures all of that.
What's the Scandinavian link there? Is that a Minnesota thing?
There's a very, very large Scandinavian population in Minnesota. And so some of the foods in Minnesota are very Scandinavian.
Oh, is that like herring and?
Oh, yes, herring. I grew up eating things like Swedish meatballs, lefse. I don't know if you know what lefse is. It's almost like a potato flatbread.
I
And
don't. That sounds
it's
great.
Oh, it's delicious. It's very, very good. And I'm going to brag here for just a second, Matt. I hope that's okay.
Please do.
Last year, I attended Golden Con, which is the Golden Girls fan convention here in the US. And I, on costume night, was a finalist for Best Rose Nyland. I dressed up as Betty White's character. And I'm sorry to be a braggart, but I'm quite proud of that I
That's
achieved
really
that.
impressive because I'm guessing the competition was pretty fierce there. Certainly more fierce than you would get in day-to-day life normally. How many
Yes, it was
people were you up against here?
hundreds. And you're
Wow.
right. The competition is no joke. People plan their costumes months in advance. They try to choose outfits from specific episodes, which are popular, where people will remember, like, oh, that's the episode where they had to do the talent show, or that's the episode where they became aerobicizing champions or whatnot. And people will remember the outfits. And I wore the outfit that Rose wore when she won a dance competition. And during my runway showing off of my Rose outfit, I did jump and land in the splits, just like her character did on the show. And I think that's probably why I became a finalist.
That is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, I did it all in my grandma wig and my 1980s grandma dress with the shoulder pads. Oh
Whereabouts
my
is this
gosh.
Golden Con, by the way?
In Chicago. Matt, I think you have to come with me to the next one. There was also somebody famous from a show called Saved by the Bell who got their start on the show.
Saved by the Bell was great.
Oh, you'd know the show. So Mario Lopez
Yeah,
was on.
Slater.
He was on the Golden Girls also.
No way.
Yes, that's right. He was AC Slater. Oh gosh, you know all this universe. But Matt, enough about TV and about my late night obsessions. Can we talk about your Roman Empire?
Absolutely.
What's something you think about all the time?
Well, I just can't believe that we're in 2025 and you've got Bezos and whoever else sending people to space, the self-driving cars, and yet there's still not a single person on the planet who can efficiently store Tupperware. I can't get my head. I've honestly tried everything, because I used to use mismatched Tupperware from takeaways and other stuff. And
Oh yeah.
if ever I wanted to get one out the cupboard, I would be showered in 400 Tupperware containers. And initially, you think, well, that's on me. There's no uniformity to the sizes, so of course they'll all fall out. I spent so much money on packs of Tupperware that were all exactly the same. I tried to take one. I'm now showered in 400 identical Tupperware containers. How? That's before you even start on like even the lids. I've tried them, in cupboards, drawers, shelves. They always get caught. And then also, then I've bought them all together. They never seem to fit. It's never the first lid it's always the third lid that you try, never the first two. And I've never met
Oh, that's so
anyone who's
true.
effectively stowed it, not once in my whole life. Like, why is that the only receptacle that we can't deal with as a society?
You're right. How can we go to space but not get this under control? I I I will say this. I know that the original Tupperware superstar, Brownie Weiss, confession, I did back in grad school make a documentary about Tupperware. Brownie Weiss was the face of Tupperware. She was the first superstar salesperson for the brand. She's the one who invented the Tupperware party. Back in her day, there were Tupperware organizers, so you could supposedly keep track of those lids in one place and, your little burpable bowls in another place and your cups and other items somewhere else. Apparently, those existed at one point. I don't know if they actually still exist though, and if they do, I need them because I have the same issue as you, Matt, and I'm also now questioning myself, why am I keeping the Tupperware above my head where it falls on me each time? Maybe I should keep the Tupperware lower. Where do you keep your Tupperware?
It sounds like you're on your way through the evolution of Tupperware storage, because I also started on top of a cupboard and then they fell on my head. I tried in the top cupboard, still fell on my head. So now we're looking at cupboards below hip height is where I keep mine. So they don't fall
Oh.
out anymore, but it's then they do fall on the floor, and then you've got the admin of having to bend down and put them all back in again. And can I just say as well, I'm genuinely honoured to be talking to an expert in Tupperware,
Oh, I wish
making a
I was a real
documentary.
expert.
That's
Well,
that's
yes.
that's incredible. What was it? What pushed you towards doing a documentary on Tupperware?
Oh, I've always been very fascinated with the rise of consumer culture in mid-century America, and Tupperware was a huge part of that, and I also loved that it wasn't just about consumerism, it was about acknowledging female buyers and possibly making a generation of female sellers. So it was kind of shaking things up as far as how consumerism worked at the time. And a lot of the women thought, this is my key to independence. This is my key to having my own purse strings managed by myself with money that I put in that purse. And so I've always been fascinated with that. But the fact also that it is supposedly a way to empower women, but also to kind of keep them in the kitchen at the same time. And I always found that conflict fascinating, but also something that everybody could relate to. Did you grow up with a lot of Tupperware in your house, Matt?
No more than anyone else, I guess. I'd never considered sort of how far-reaching the effects of Tupperware went, but you're absolutely right. I think for me, it's we've always kind of made too much food to box up to then eat the next day, just out of convenience more than anything. And I've always been a big fan of that. So in that sense, Tupperware's played a big part of it. But I find that interesting about consumerism. Maybe that's the big conspiracy. I've been looking for a good organizer for years. Maybe they're getting rid of all of those and hiding them so that you keep thinking the problem is the actual Tupperware. You buy more Tupperware. And then, yeah, I think
Oh,
we're onto something here.
I have a solution that I'm going to suggest. And maybe this is a little naughty, but I like to make people things, you know, cookies, little snacks, put them in the Tupperware, and then drop it off at their houses. Or when I'm invited over for dinner, I bring the Tupperware and I leave it at their house. So it's now their problem instead of mine. Have you tried that?
No, that is genius. So it's sort of like a Trojan horse reverse.
Yes. It seems like a gift, but it's really just a diabolical way to get rid of Tupperware.
I think that's really smart. Yeah, obviously there's a lot of legwork that goes into the other side of that, which I don't think anyone would want anything that I've baked, which is an issue.
You don't have to bake it yourself, Matt. You can go to the store, buy a roll of biscuits and then just take half the biscuits from the roll and set them in the Tupperware and bring them over.
Okay, wow, this is really devious. This is a real
Oh, it's
evil
so
genius
devious.
at
Yeah.
work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So maybe that's just the cure-all for all of our problems. Just hand off
I think
Tupperware
you
to
might be
people
right.
as a gift.
Yeah. But then obviously what happens, I mean, for example, this podcast or this show goes out, people hear about your genius evil solution, they all start doing it, and before you know it, we're both getting Tupperwares full of food. So then
Oh,
we're
no.
the victims of this.
Wow. I think we may have created more of a problem than a solution here, huh?
I
Oh,
think you've created a
no.
solution and then you've destroyed it by telling everyone. But I appreciate it.
Well, hopefully whatever Tupperware comes our way will nest into other Tupperware we have in a better way and fit more lids than we currently have.
Yeah, that's all we ever want from life, isn't it? Have you noticed that there's some pretty mad Tupperware you can get now, and I get sucked in by it every single time. I don't know what the weirdest one you've seen is, but I bought a banana holder. It's obviously in the shape of a banana, but it's a Tupperware, and I don't really know what the point of it is, because generally speaking, I never apply enough force to a banana to smash it when it's not in a Tupperware, if you know what I mean. So I don't really know why, but there's something about it that I really like. And have you seen any mad Tupperwares?
Yeah, I've seen the tomato one and the avocado one. The avocado one, it's supposed to keep your avocado from turning brown. It does not work, at least not the way I was using it. And I've also just seen all the Tupperware that's targeting children that's shaped like different animals or characters. Those are kind of cute, I gotta say.
Yeah, I would easily get drawn in by that. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
avocado one, that interests me.
I was just thinking about your banana holder. So most people eat a whole banana at once, right? Maybe a few people only eat half a banana at a time. If you want to be the pain in the butt roommate, you can just always leave half bananas everywhere instead of finishing off the other half of the banana. So what if your refrigerator was filled with half bananas in little Tupperware containers? That might be like just a funny joke only to you, or it might drive your roommate crazy.
I think that would drive whoever you were living with absolutely insane. And I'm here for it. I think it's another genius solution from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a joke that doesn't really hurt anybody that much, but to me, it just cracks me up, the idea of having a bunch of bananas, but you open each of the containers and it's only half a banana in each one.
I totally agree. Yeah, there's no malice. It's
No.
just a bit of fun, isn't it? And
Yes.
now that I've got that out of my brain, thank you very much for helping me with that. I think it's about time to get my head down and get some sleep, I think.
Yeah. Bananas supposedly have a chemical in them that help us sleep, so now more than ever is a good time to put our heads on our pillows, huh?
It is. I've only had 50% of one, but I reckon I can drift off.
I think the other half works for me just fine. Well, Matt, have a great night. Have a great sleep. And I'll see you next time in the pillow fort.
You too. Night, Kristen.